on when the weather's
I
bad.
know. I had to turn my air off and my heat back on. I told someone just a little bit ago, it can't decide whether it wants to be winter, spring, or summer.
Well, the groundhog say he's gonna show y'all what time it was.
I know.
He saw his shadow.
Well,
he said 6 more weeks of cold weather. Right. He showed you some ice and some snow in the city of Natchez. He froze some things up. Matter of fact, he made things so bad. I think y'all here tonight to do a declaration.
we did. And in fact, that's why I decided tonight to invite as our guest tonight my friend and the Honorable Angela Hutchins, who is president of the Adams County Board of Supervisors. And we also have on the line our Director of Emergency Management and our EOC Director, Mr. Robert Bradford, Brad Bradford. And Mr. Bradford, how are you this evening? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I hear you, man. Everything is going good. I'm glad you're doing okay. I know you got your second shot. So you're good, doing great tonight.
I tell you, I got the first one in this arm. I got the second one in this arm. I'm good to go.
I did the same thing. I got one in one arm and another in the other arm.
And President Hutchins, it's so good to have you. How are you this evening?
It's always good to see you.
Thank you.
Always good.
Love working with you.
Sometimes I feel like I'm attached to you because we've been having meetings every day.
I know.
And it's you and I all the time.
I know.
I feel like I'm attached to you right now.
I know. We have definitely gotten attached because we're working so hard on good things for Natchez, Adams County, and we're working together. And I really love working with you. And it was a pleasure. We had a meeting this morning with Supervisor Ricky Gray. Yes. And I love working with all of you on the Board of Supervisors and in the county.
Well, thank you. And we love working with you also because that's one thing we're trying to do is move this city and county forward.
Yes, yeah, I'm excited. You know, a couple things that we can celebrate just over the last few weeks. The city and county are now pledged equally toward the completion of the pool, and we're excited about that. We also are so grateful to be supporting the county and your. Well, there goes. We'll let the siren get on by, but. A serious erosion project that y'all got to tackle over at the county building right there at Liberty and Melrose. And just so glad that you reached out and we were able to work together on that.
Right, you did, and we're thankful for that. That project was costing us about $350,000. And so the county had to put in about $135,000. So that split is going to be good.
Yes.
We appreciate you all for giving us the $60,000 toward that. So we're grateful.
Grateful. And we're going to continue working together. President Hutchins, I'm excited about the plans that the county has, what's going on at the airport, what's going on at the port, some really good things. In fact, and we'll get on the subject of the disaster in just a minute, the storm, and we're going to talk about COVID. Mr. Bradford's on the line, but I want to make sure our listeners and people on Facebook know this. The port has received a very large grant and about to have a new, very state-of-the-art liquid delivery system at the port.
That's correct.
And Mr. Wilbur Johnson and Mr. Anthony Hauer are doing really great work there at the port along with the commissioners. And we just heard that just over the past few days.
That's correct. Ever since Mr. Howard been with the port, I remember back years ago when the port was not doing so well. And once he became director, it just boomed. It started booming from then forward. They had to make us payments and stuff for the port and everything, but now they don't, they're in a process where they don't even have to do all those things anymore.
That's
so
wonderful.
He has made that port a very successful place. He has.
And he's very well respected in the state.
Everywhere.
And President Hutchins, in addition to that, the city and the county, as everyone knows, went in together with Natchez Inc. on hiring a lobbyist, and they've been working. And I'm hearing good things about the completion of the Bellwood levee out at the industrial park. That will be a great step forward.
Yes, that will be a great step for the county because we got a lot of people that is looking at that.
That's right.
Area. So we just got one more phase to it. So once we get that completed, it's going to be great for us.
Yes, and we've had the $14 million renovation of the railroad, and now you have a great director out at the airport, Mr. Richard Nelson.
That's correct.
And I understand that a multi-million-dollar project's about to commence there.
That is correct.
And y'all are going to renovate the runways.
That's correct. We're planning on doing some of the runways, the hangars out there.
Yes.
So that's going to be all good for us. And I know they got a project coming up. I think it's on March 20 where they're going to have a big event going on out there. So that's going to be, that's going to be really good. So.
Well, we call this show is kind of what's going on when we do this, Natchez Renewal Radio. And I just had to give a little shout out because those are all such positive things.
Yeah, very positive.
What's going on? Now, another thing that's going on right now is the cleanup of the city and the county. We had a lot of damage during the ice storm, and it was a historic storm. And we had historic damage to our water system, a lot of trees down, a lot of people without power. I know y'all experienced so much of this in the county. President Hutchins, how is it going in the county?
Right now it's going good with the disaster and everything. We're having the cleanups out. The county road crew is doing a lot of cleanup. But as I was talking to Mr. Bradford, and we was going over some things about how it's work, the process work with the disaster plan. What they do is the county did a declaration first for this disaster plan. And then we had individuals and also the road people to go out and do an assessments of places and ask them to send it in to prices
Right.
where it could be recorded so that can determine how is Mississippi going to be declared as a disaster.
Yes.
So we're working on that, and they did a good job. And then I think the city, I'm quite sure they met their threshold.
Yes.
I think we met our threshold.
We have.
Yes, okay. And
Combined, Mississippi, it is said we have to hit 4.5 million
right.
statewide for Mississippi to be declared a national disaster. And I believe we have hit about a fourth of that or even more just right here in Natchez Adams County.
Right. I think it was like 409 residents. That was totaling 758,000.
Yes.
And then I think it was like 17 commercial properties.
Yes.
That was totaling about 602,000. So,
And you add to that all of our debris in the city and the damage to our water system, and we had damage to city buildings, including major roof collapse at our senior center. Mm-hmm. And then y'all had a lot of damage as well in the county.
We did, and we had some damage to one of our buildings, which was the health department. I'm sorry. We had some water damage.
Yes.
To it, so
yes.
Pipe bust.
So we're there, and we're encouraging other cities and counties to make sure they get their assessments in. President Hutchins, I'm real proud of Mr. Bradford. Brad Bradford has been our Director of Emergency Management and EOC during a very difficult time. Mr. Bradford, in the short time I've been mayor, I've worked with you now. We've gone through, and Mr. Bradford's been right at the leadership in all of this. We've had the pandemic. We've had 2 hurricanes. We've had some torrential rains and even floods in certain areas. And then we've had this historic ice storm. And then I saw Mr. Bradford down there today where over 1,000 people, myself included, were getting their shots. So, Mr. Bradford, how are you holding up?
Hey, I want to thank President Hutchins and you, Mayor, for having me on tonight. I'm no stranger to this. I served 25 years in the military, so I'm kind of used to it. So, and I think President Hutchins said, "Where do you sleep?" It's always one of those things that I'm always constantly, thinking how we can take care of our residents a safe way and get back to normalcy. So, that comes with tremendous sacrifice and having a good plan and a good working relationship with the whole community. And I want to thank you, Mayor, for coming in and assessing that and looking at what we need to do, where we at, and how do we get there. And how we get there is by being a team, because like I say, with this pandemic, it don't just affect everybody the way it does on some. This is a pandemic across the country, this continent pretty much. So with that, understand with the disasters, those disasters are going to continue to come. We just got to be prepared in how we do things as a city and as a county, and working together and try to keep our residents safe. So that's why we had a meeting that we discussed a lot of things. And, a lot of times people don't understand the planning that goes into it, the tough decisions that we have to make on doing things, putting in mandates and stuff like that, because, we have to look at our future. A lot of times, you make decisions right now, it can affect your future in a positive, negative way. And just look at our city now, Natchez and Adams County, it's one of the safest COVID places because, we've had our mandate there. Our people understand that it's going to take the whole community to get back to normal. So, we're on the right path, and, we just want to continue the teamwork that we have together.
Yeah, Mr. Bradford, I'm glad you mentioned that designation. It did not come just by chance that Forbes last week on a national list, we ranked in the top 10 of best places to travel to during a pandemic. Natchez, we were number 5 on that list, and it was based on our COVID numbers as of February 20th, which was just last week. And, I think that is a real affirmation to the great leadership we've had here in Natchez Adams County during this pandemic, the EOC working, the city, county working together, all of our first responders, police, sheriff, and even all of the hospitals and others in our business community. We've managed to keep our economy open, keep it safe, and we have now reaped the rewards of that and national recognition that here we are in the top 10 nationally of COVID-friendly vacation cities. That's amazing, isn't it?
That's very amazing.
Right.
I was very surprised to hear when we was asking Mr. Bradford Monday, just yesterday, about the active cases here. It was, 7 cases. Am I correct, Mr. Bradford? You said 7 cases?
Yeah, we had 7, but some of those depend on what's left in the hospital. So, like I said, our numbers are doing great. The people are doing great. So, we just got to continue to press on the grind.
Yeah.
We're only going to get better if we continue our same path we've been on.
That's right. And, it's so important for people to get that vaccine. So I took a picture, or had them take a picture, and it was really neat. The National Guardsmen are all out there, and guardswomen, our police force, the Mississippi Department of Health. But when I pulled up to get my shot, there was a young man who is serving our country in the National Guard, and he was there to help process my shot. And I've known him since he was born.
Wow.
He's the son of my good friend, former Hinds County Supervisor Charles Barber, a longtime friend of mine. And so his son, Alan Barber, helped get me vaccinated today. I was really surprised when I pulled up, and he said, "Well, hello, Mr. Gibson." I looked up, it was Alan. But while I was in line, I talked to some of the people there on site, and I know we've had a lot of frustration in the community. But, when you consider the weather and you consider the ice storm doubling up on appointments, to get over 1,000 people through there today vaccinated, that is amazing. And it really is helping our numbers go further down. But another thing, too, President Hutchins, and I'd like for us to speak about this for a minute. There's been some unfortunately, there has been some fear, and I think there's been some false information about the vaccine. And at one time here, just early on in the process, we were very concerned that the percentage of the African American community getting vaccinated was very low. And so we've been doing our best to push that. And in fact, we're right now working on a public relations campaign to really get the message out. And for people who don't have computers, we've actually been making calls from the mayor's office and helping them get appointments. But I asked one of the nurses today, how is the African American turnout? And she said it was fantastic. And she said that they were really noticing a great increase in participation in the vaccine process among the African American community. And I'm just so grateful that's happening.
Yeah, I really feel like at one time it was a fear. You know, no one know what the shot was going to do. You know, you was hearing all kind of things about the shot and, you know, and what it's doing to people and the effect that it had on people. So I think it was more fear in the Black community. But as they get educated about it, more has come out, and now they see that you're not having all these side effects that they say was happening. You know, you was hearing that there was death behind this vaccine and all this kind of stuff you know, that you read. But, you know, as time went on, you know, they see that that is all just not fact. You know?
And you know, I think it's really helped the community as a whole. I know there's been fear all over the land during this time. We've never dealt with a virus like this in our lifetime.
Right.
But if you go back in history, prior generations have dealt with it. And people say, well, you know, that vaccine is just a hoax, or this is all just a plot. But, you know, we had to take the vaccine to get rid of polio.
Right.
We had to take the vaccine to get rid of smallpox, and there have been other vaccines. This is just another step in that process, and I'm so grateful we're getting through it.
Yeah, I am too, and hopefully they'll get a booster shot where we can get it once a year, and you know,
and be done
with this.
Be done, just as we are with everything else. And you know, the other encouraging thing is when you can see everyone from the president, vice president, members of Congress, the governor, right here in our city, county, our police chief, Joe Daltrey, was one of the very first to get a shot here, and all of the other officials, county and city level. Alderwoman Sarah Carter Smith, she came to a meeting last week and was so excited she had just gotten her second dose.
Great.
And I said, well, you beat me. Well, I got mine today. And then President Hutchins, you've gotten yours.
I did. As a matter of fact, I was the first one on the board to get mine.
Oh,
so
that's
I
great.
was doing a little bragging on that. Mr. Bradford, you recall that?
Yes, ma'am, you were.
Yeah, I told him at first when I went through that line, I had a little anxiety about getting that shot, but I said, I'm going to stay in this line. I pretty much wanted to push everybody in front of me, but I said, no, I better not do that. I may not ever get this shot if I do that. But I got through it, and
yes.
And it was great.
And no problems.
And no problems.
Feel fine.
Feel fine.
And I still have all my toes and fingers. And
exactly.
Well, to now change the subject back to the ice storm event, I want to say the city and county, again, just work so well together. Our public works crew for the city and the public works crew for the county, we're out there together, just working so hard. Our police department, the sheriff, working so hard out there. I had a number of calls and texts from Sheriff Patton, almost as many as I had from my own chief, Chief Daughtry. And so it's just so good to see those gentlemen, those departments. We also saw, you know, our first responders, firefighters, and Mr. Smith on behalf of the county. They just all work together. President Hutchins, Supervisor Ricky Gray always said, dream work makes the teamwork, and teamwork makes the great work.
That's right.
We really saw some good teamwork. We did.
It really was some good teamwork. And I just wanted to say that another good thing is I really thank the emergency management team for going, you know, doing the code red thing. You know, they put all the information, they got all the information out on code red for everybody who had code red. And I wanted to say that if anybody do not have code red, you need to go and sign up for code red. And by doing this, you can go and sign up at adamscountymiss.net. And if you don't have no way of signing up there, you can also call 601-442-7021 and sign up for Code Red. And you can get so much information through Code Red.
You sure can.
Yes.
And repeat that phone number again.
That phone number is 601-442-7021.
Mr. Bradford, this is a good time now to get back to you talking about emergency management, EOC, Code Red. We had a number of calls during the event and a number of very important calls, a lot of people pitching in to help. You and Nefa Hardy not only did all that, but you also set up great operations at the safe room. You got water for us to give out when we were out of water down here. And Mr. Bradford, now that we're past all that, what do we need to do? What do we need to know now?
Okay, just give a snapshot of what President Hutchins and the mayor were saying. You know, we encourage everybody to, if you don't have code red, because code red, a lot of times they get confused with the weather, but the Board of Supervisors has put a lot of money into this system as for general information. So you can get general information along with the weather, so we can reach a majority of the residents here in Natchez County quicker to get information out. We've also tested the system with working with our public utilities, Natchez Water, Adams County Water, putting out boil water notices during that time, which was real effective also with our social media. So we got to remind people, another thing with the crisis track, I want to bring that up there. We've had a large number of people enter into crisis track this time for disasters, which is good. I commend the residents of Natchez and Adams County, because this system not only captures the real-time event, it allows us, when you enter your information and your address, it allows us to get a real snapshot of what damages we can expect throughout the county and the city. And also, MEMA, when we put our information in crisis track, when you do self-report, MEMA gets a snapshot, and also FEMA can see that information, so they can start doing their work, because everybody knows during disaster, everybody want to get back to normalcy. You know, we understand that everybody wants their homes fixed and stuff like that. So it's imperative that we put that information into crisis track and we come out and verify. There are steps when you're talking about disasters. Like President Hutchins said, you know, there's a declaration that had to be done, a request to the state governor for federal assistance. So we have to meet that threshold in order to do a request, not just through the county, but statewide. So, you know, it's imperative that we get that damage in as quick as possible, because we're on a timeline. You know, the quicker we get it in, the quicker we can get our assessment, and the quicker we can start to see funding coming back to our state and our municipalities and counties once the governor declares a state of emergency and we get a federal declaration for the event. So I just want to thank everybody that put in. I know a lot of people still had damages and weren't able to get put in, but we're going to work with you on that and trying to get all that information uploaded, because, you know, our goal is we don't want to leave nobody behind if they're eligible. And just a couple of things on how FEMA assesses houses. You know, a lot of people thinking that if I get some damage to my house, I'll automatically qualify. FEMA has a different scale that we have to go by as for being affected, being minor, major, or destroyed. So that's going to be the key to any declaration. If they see how many properties were destroyed or how many major damages that we suffer here in the county. Minor and affected, you know, depends on the severity of them. It will grant us a federal declaration. So we're hoping, Mayor and Board of President, that other counties can get their information in as quick, and the governor can go ahead and try to get us a federal declaration so we can get, you know, the people that suffered the help they need.
And Mr. Bradford, what phone number should they call if they want to report, if they haven't already done so, and they want to report damage? What phone number should they call?
Right. They can just call my office and speak to some of my representatives, my office staff. That's 601-442-7021. And I'll just leave your address and a phone number and stuff like that. So once this is over, we get all our initial report in, we can come back and add you to the list. Also, if you got pictures, pictures are worth 1,000 words. You know, and we want you to hold on to those. I know a lot of people that with insurance, they want to go ahead and try to claim it. But, you know, the problem that they're running into is those high deductibles. So we ask you guys, just be patient with us. It's a process that we have to go through. Ever since Katrina, FEMA has strictened their rules and regulations as far as federal declaration. So we just ask everybody to be patient. We're tip this spear when we get our information in.
And you know, I think it's important for people to know they need to report even if they've got insurance. And also people have asked, well, can I get a FEMA grant? can I get an SBA disaster loan or grant? Well, all of that can be available, but not until we're declared a disaster. And then even so, they have to meet certain thresholds. And
criteria.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Right.
And the mayor and I, we had spoke about this. We've been reaching out to some of the city and counties and asking them to report it, their damages and getting out. Some of them hadn't been reported. So when I reached out to them, they said, okay, we'll do this. We'll get it reported in. So I was glad to hear that someone was just a little totally lost.
They have been. Yeah. And, but I'm encouraged. I understand quite a few are now getting them turned in. And I'm encouraged that the city of Jackson and also Vicksburg are participating, and Hinds County. There's a lot of damage up there. I think that'll put us right where we need to be number-wise. I need to let people of the city know that we have hired a company. We're so confident we'll get that number that we went ahead and hired a company to come in and assist with our cleanup. And so, normally people have to be real careful how they put their garbage out or their limb piles. But right now, they just put those limbs out there. I've seen a lot of yards with a lot of debris. If people will just move that debris to the side of the street, we will pick it up, and we have mechanized machinery working on these trucks, and it will get hauled away. Just don't put it on the water meter or utility line or something of that nature, a guide wire to a power pole. We don't want any damage when this machinery is loading the material. But we also are going to be picking up household debris where they had roof damage, they have sheetrock, they have insulation or old equipment. Just put it out on the street, but put it in a separate pile, and our company will get all of that also.
That's great. I know our road department has been out cleaning up, limbs and debris as of right now, and they've been doing it for the last probably a couple of weeks. So we're asking people to continue to put it out there, and we're getting it. We're taking care of it.
I've heard really good things about the county's response out there, and then also while we're talking about disaster assistance, small businesses that were affected, we are actually reaching out to the SBA, getting information. We'll be sharing it, but there could very well be some SBA disaster loans or disaster grants available to you.
That's correct.
Well, we are almost out of time. Mr. Bradford, do you have any last words? And then we're going to have President Hutchins as the lady have the last word.
Yeah, I'm going to say this, Mayor, just to put this out. I know everybody listened to the governor today when he lifted the mask mandate. Just want everybody to be advised that Natchez County, our mask mandate goes out on the 31st. We want to continue to do the course that we're doing because we want to continue to have these events coming to our area and stuff like that. So let's continue wearing our masks and social distancing because we want to remain at the top. We don't want to get relaxed right about now and fall to the bottom with our numbers.
By the end of the month, when everyone's been vaccinated and we're really beyond, we're going to see a whole different thing. I'm so excited. Mr. Bradford, thank you for being on the show tonight and for all of your leadership and service to Natchez Adams County.
Thank you, Mayor, Board President.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
And President Hutchins.
Yes, my last word I would like to thank everyone who had came out and helped during this ice storm because this has been one of the worst ice storms that we ever seen. We never had this in Natchez. So I'd like to thank the road department, the public works, first responders, and the essential workers for coming out doing their jobs, and the emergency management, Mr. Bradford, who every time I look up, he, like you say, he was everywhere. I had to ask him, do you ever get in this sleep? And the sheriff department and the police department, they was out there full time and they never stopped doing what they had to do. E911 dispatchers, they made their way to work to make sure that they got the E911 calls that the people were calling in about. So I thank them for coming out doing what they had to do. And thank you, Mayor, and the police chief for taking them some breakfast and lunch, which was a great thing. I appreciate that.
Oh, we were happy to do it. We were.
That. And I also wanted to thank the volunteers that came to the safe room. You know, they came out to help with the
Yes.
ones that had to be in the safe room. So I thank them for coming out there to help. And if I missed anyone else, I thank you also. I really do.
You know, I'll add to that list American Red Cross. They were really great. And also our own Natchez Water, Tony Moon and his employees. They did a great job taking us from a disaster situation on a Friday to fully restored by Monday. I was so grateful.
That was great.
Well, President Hutchins, I just thank you. I thank you for your leadership. I'm excited about all of the things we're working on together.
Yes. I think it's going to be a great year.
Yes, it really is.
Yes.
It is.
Yes.
You know, I'll never forget when you and I were there when Loss Prevention made their announcement and those new jobs coming downtown.
Mhm.
And we were speaking to the governor.
That's correct.
And we were talking about how our city county work together.
Mhm.
And remember, he said if only other cities and counties could get that.
Yes.
That's the key to
We've
success.
always been on top like that, is working together. So
We are.
I'm excited about this.
Me
so.
too. Me
It's extremely good.
and also y'all got a great county administrator, Angie King.
Yes, that's our new county administrator. She's been great. I mean, you know, I look back at Joe and he was keeping us, you know, our money,
Yes.
you know, in order, and she just come in just as tough as Joe. So
You would
you know, I
think Angie
appreciate
had been there
I
forever.
think she'll be there forever.
But then again, in the way she has, she's been in the background
She has.
and she has great experience, especially in the financial aspects of the county. And then, gosh, I'm going to just say we have the best people in Natchez and Adams.
We do.
And it's a real pleasure to serve the people here and to see the spirit of love, unity, harmony, the positivity that's occurring, community, opportunity. It's a real good time.
Right, I agree. And I'll tell you what, you could tell we have a good people here because you see something like that, everybody come together, and it doesn't matter what color
That's
or
right.
race it is. You know, everybody comes together, and that's a good thing.
That's why I think the for sale signs are disappearing around town. Everybody's wanting to move to Natchez, and that's great. We're glad to have them.
We are.
Well, I think that concludes us tonight. I've got to get going. I've got to pick up my son. Shout out my son, Clark Gibson. This is his 27th birthday. And so I've got to get over so we can find a way to celebrate. Do you know, he is my favorite son.
Wow.
He is my smartest son, and he is also my best looking. And he is my only.
That's it. That's what I was about to say, because I could not say that about my daughter's favorite. Yes.
Well, God bless you.
Same to you.
Thank you,
And thank you, Mayor,
President
for inviting me here.
It's been a real pleasure.
I appreciate that.
Calvin, WTYJ, and Mr. Bradford again, thank you for having us. And thank you for Natchez. Thank you for listening.
Well, we thank you, Mayor, for coming on, and great to have the board president of Supervisors, Supervisor Angela Hutchins on tonight. And of course, I tell folks all the time, you want to know what's going on, tune in every Tuesday night at 6 p.m. for Natchez Renewal, except for the fourth Tuesday when he's having a meeting to find out what's going on in the Miss Lou right here on 97.7 FM.